The past, the present, the future. This is Friday Night's Fright. What the planet is listening to.
Hello, this is Ian Austin and this is ShudderMania 2019. And on today's docket is a little movie called Amer, directed by Eileen Catet and Bruno Vorzani. 87 minutes long from 2010 in French. 3 key moments, all of them central, define Amer's life. Her carnal search sways between reality and coloured fantasies, becoming more and more oppressive. A black lace hand prevents her from screaming. Okay. The wind lifts her dress and caresses her thighs. Wait, what? A razor blade brushes her skin. Where would this chaotic and carnivorous journey leave her? ? I'm a bit concerned now, actually, to be honest. Cast is Cassandra Ferrer, Charlotte Eugene Gibbous, Marie Boss, and Bianca Marie D'Amato. I don't know what I've let myself in for here. But this is ShudderMania, and I'll be back with my review after this brief moment of sponsorship. Hey, so I've just finished watching Amer, and I'm very confused. I'm more confused than I was when I started watching it. I know I say it's a fair bit, but I don't feel like I've gained anything. I feel like I've lost a lot. I'm confused. I don't really have any idea what happened in this movie. I'll try and explain as best I could, but I think best way of describing it is as, and I hope no one takes any offence to this is a very French horror movie, and that's not necessarily a bad thing in principle, because it's unique, it's different, it's got an aesthetic which is watchable and not the standard Hollywood bullshit. Foreign horror movies obviously are a bit different, so don't have to rely on the stupid American horror tropes. And in that regard, it's good, because it's something different, and it continues the theme of ShudderMania. Each movie tried to be different to the last one. And so that's good, and the opening's very interesting. I say interesting a fair bit in this kind of review, but it's cool. It's the wet shot, it's cool. Playing with perspectives, I always like that in horror movies. When you can flip perspective and use visuals in an idiomatic way, and this movie definitely does that. There's some warped visuals, use of colour palettes, colour saturation, that sort of thing. Sounds very posh and very uptight, and it is. Well, I think it's time to get to the actual movie now. Right, so this says, the description says 3 key moments, all of them central, defying Anna's life. I sort of get that, but it's saying in theory it's 3 acts. So first act, she's a kid, right? So first act, she's a kid, and she sees her parents, I think, having sex, and then a black lace hand prevents her from screaming, but then she starts freaking out, and she's tied to a bed with a chain, and she starts really freaking out through that. And then you get next bit, which is Act 2, I guess you can say, where she's walking a lot with her mother. She's walking a real long way. I mean, we get lots of scenes of her walking, and the wind keeps lifting her dress from the front and back and caressing her thighs, I guess. And that bit goes on for ages. And at one point I was like, is she flirting with the biker gang? I wasn't entirely sure what was going on, because there's one part where she walks, and it's about 3 minutes. She's walking forward, and biker gang keeps staring at her, and she stares at them, and wind keeps lifting her dress, because why not? That's what wind does, I guess. But then her mother slaps her, and then they try and get pulled over by a car, but they don't. And then third act is her running away from some guy who's trying to murder her with a razor blade, but then she gets drop on him and murders him for the razor blade. And that's pretty much the movie. That's 80 minutes right there, although fuck knows how any of it's connected. They claim that there's this ominous presence, this man in black, which is following her throughout her life, which I guess maybe, but be honest, I kind of got the impression this was another movie where the main character was having a prolonged mental breakdown. And to be honest, I feel like I was having a mental breakdown watching this because I could not keep track of what's going on. It's very arty in that regard. It's more tone and aesthetic more than scares. There's no traditional horror movie jump scares in this, or even scares of any real kind. There's a few moments of tension, there's a few bits of violence. Indeed, the way she deals with Man in Black is shockingly violent. But mainly, it's as the description says, I guess you can say it's trying to parlay the correlation between sensuality and horror. I guess you can say that. I don't necessarily know that it gets it particularly right, but I think that's what it's in theory going for, sensuality versus horror. Which, I don't know, it's I'm trying not to be too critical of these sort of movies, but I did feel watching it that it had the idea of what it wanted to be, but I don't think necessarily could commit to it. It also didn't have I can't imagine this had a script, like a tightly written script. It very much felt like a visual demonstration rather than a character-based horror movie. There was characterization, but it feels quite, I wouldn't say tacked on, but driven more by the visuals and the aesthetic more than actual traditional character arc, which is fine. You know, a lot of movies, one from Boyhood for example, which I quite like, don't need to have a character arc, you know, or they can have one that feels a bit more true to life, but this is dealing with horror tropes and of a sort, and to that regard I feel like it was definitely more atmosphere than acting or writing orientating. That's fine, it is what it is. Problem being that they didn't really make up enough of that, I feel. It's a movie which is predominantly designed to be in 3 acts, with each part of her life in different acts. But to be honest, I had trouble figuring out where we were or what time frame we were in, which isn't a good thing because the movie is designed so you can or should be designed so you can watch it and know exactly where you are at any given moment. I had no idea. I turned away and turned back and she'd aged 10 years and it was like, the fuck is this shit? I also think that's the other thing that gets me. Maybe you could have more of an emotional connection, although there wasn't much of one anyway, if it was the same actress playing it all along. It's essentially making 3 short movies with the same character. It's not a bad thing per se, it's just difficult to actually relate to what character's going through. I mean, I didn't have any fucking idea what character's going through. But, I mean, at the same time, as an experiment, it was watchable. I did get some enjoyment out of it in terms of, you know, they really went to town with the aesthetic. I keep saying that, but the colour scheme, the cinematography is really, really cool. And that's sometimes enough. The visuals also cool, like I said, the colour palette and whatnot. I mean, it's interesting. I hate saying the word interesting, but it's fascinating. It's something different. It's a pretty standard story, but the way you can tell a story using visuals can often be the determinator between it being generic okay or, you know, weird. And this was really weird. And weird is good, you know. We need more weird in horror movies. And it's part of ShudderMania. I mean, it's... well, I'm sort of tripping over my words a bit because I'm very tired and I'm very confused. And like I say, I do feel like I've to a degree lost something in watching this movie. But also, I suppose you can say I gained something, which is an appreciation for France horror being batshit crazy. Although I could have used more batshit crazy than this. I would probably give this about 3 out of 5, to be honest. I think it was watchable. I think it was definitely something I'd recommend if you want to watch a unique kind of horror movie. Something which is a bit more avant-garde, a bit more about, how phrase this, a bit more about creating a mood rather than creating a actual... creating mood rather than creating any sort of tangible connection, I guess. But there you go. Anyway, that was Amer. I could continue doing more, but I'm not going to because I don't really have anything more to say, really. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, but with a conjecture of 4 out of 5 for visuals. Anyway, tomorrow on ShudderMania, I'll be reviewing Rabies, which is a Hebrew Israeli horror movie. Interesting. I thought it's David Cronenberg one. I was wrong. Anyway, that's on ShudderMania for tomorrow. This is Ian Austin signing off. And remember, life is beautiful.